Hello, good morning, and a very warm welcome to another session of Streaming School. We're really, really proud to have you with us again today, and we're really, really proud to be delivering this little bit of continuity throughout the lockdown. My name's Heaney. I'm a former head teacher in the UK and also an English teacher, and I still run tuition centres. And we have a range of software that teaches a lot of people online, so well placed, hopefully, to deliver some online lesson with some brilliant teachers. I do very little apart from ask them to help every single day, and they're kind enough to donate their time. I'm supported as ever by the real brains behind everything, which is Miss Nisha Hunjan, who's kindly offered her time as well to coordinate and liaise and update and the rest. And we have a wonderful set of teachers that you can find on the website, but we are blessed to start every morning with someone who's fast becoming a lot of people's favourite person, Mr. Action Jackson. Good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Good morning to every one of you. My name is Action Jackson. I'm excited. I get excited every single day doing these sessions. I'm sure you do too, Leon.
Yeah. It's getting, when you're trying to help people everywhere, and then I get to listen to you in the morning as well, my day's set.
Yeah. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Well, good morning, world. This is Action Jackson, the UK ambassador for happiness. I'm the resident motivator here at Free Streaming School, empowering you to be the best version of yourself. I'm here to give you the drive that you need to start your day. I'm like your energizer. I'm like your battery. I'm like your whatever you want in life to get you there. Boom, I've got it. So today, I'm so excited because you might be watching us for the first time. Well, welcome. This is Streaming School, and you are about to be blown away. If you're coming back, welcome back. Well, today it's all about energizing you to be focused. As usual, I like my music in the background. And the reason why I like it is because I like this phrase. So I hope you can join me today and just say this phrase. I am amazing. Okay, bounce with me. I am amazing. Because that's who you are. I am amazing. I don't care what your thoughts telling you. I am amazing. Feel the energy, feel the vibe. I am amazing. This is like a warm-up. I'm like your mental gym instructor. Here we go. I am amazing. Come on. 3 more times. I am amazing. 2 more times. Let's go. I am amazing. 1 more time. Let's go. I am amazing. Listen, streaming school is like school like you've never noticed, you've never seen. This is what it's all about. Well, welcome. I'm really excited. And as always, I start with my foundation. I hope you understand this foundation. Your thoughts, that's your epicenter. That's what controls everything. Your thoughts will affect your emotions. How do you think? What do you think? What do you think about? What you think about will determine your emotions. Your emotions will determine your actions, and your actions will determine your results in life. We want you to be successful. That's why we want you to control your thoughts in a positive way. Your thoughts, that's like your gold mine. Take my money, take my clothes, take my food. I love my food though, but take my food. Leave me my thoughts, okay? Leave my thoughts. Because when my thoughts are protected, my whole world's protected. So please, that's why we say be positive. Be positive means shift your thoughts in something that makes you feel good about yourself. Now, for the rest of the time I have here with me, with you guys, as I've laid the foundation for you, we need to understand one thing. You are amazing as you are. And our job is to fish out the greatness that's within you. Now, there's a formula. I'm not a maths teacher, but I do have a formula for life. It's E plus R equals O. I want you to say that for me on the other side, wherever you're watching right now. Say E plus R equals O.
E plus R equals O.
Okay, yeah, you're listening. Thank you very much. You're wondering, what is this about? Well, let me break it down for you. E is event, okay? Event. Events are things that you sometimes can control, but majority of the time, you can't control it. Well, the pandemic is an event. The lockdown is an event. The school closure, that's an event. You can't control the event. But the R is response. Response, how you respond to the event. Now that you can control. Your exams event, you can't control that. It's gonna happen. But your response, you can control that. Because your response is what determines the outcome. That's what determines the outcome. So let me bring it all together. Event plus response determines the outcome. How are you responding? I want you to respond like a fighter. I want you to respond with focus. I want you to respond with determination. Even if you think that you're not good enough, at least gather your energy and say, you know what? I'm not good enough, but I'm going to learn until I am good enough. You know, I'm scared right now. I'm going to go learn until I'm not scared anymore. The one thing I don't want you to do is to run. Do not run. Yeah, running is for wimps. Don't run. Face life challenges head on. Now, there are some events that's way bigger than you. That's okay. You still do have a response. The response is 100% yours that determines the outcome. Very quickly, I'm going to whisk through some people who decided to respond to life in a different way. Okay? Determination and never giving up is the key. Never, ever giving up. Now, watch this. I'm going to take you to this guy right now. They used to call him dummy at school. He didn't care. He responded by acquiring more knowledge. We know who he is. We know history has documented him as one of the greatest thinkers of all time. This woman was told that she's not good enough on television. That's an event that hit her life. But guess what? She responded by saying, I'm not giving up. Started reading, started learning, started growing. This guy was rejected. Michael Jordan, from his high school basketball team, he responded with determination, learned. Four. Greatest player of all time. This individual right here, I love this individual, Walt Disney. How can you tell me that Walt Disney is not creative enough? That's ridiculous. He responded with determination. Eminem, this guy, strung out on drugs, almost took his own life, but he allowed his art to drag him out of that dark place. Positive response. Lionel Messi was told that he was too short for his age and he had his foot messed up, so he had to have his foot surgery. Hard work and determination brought him through. This guy was fired from his own company. Event. Response, he came back stronger. Outcome, legend. Thomas Edison was told that he would never be able to do anything. Okay, he's not a great learner, but he's a great inventor. He was noted down as a great inventor. The Beatles, they don't have good music. They're never going to sell. Response, fire. Here is what I want you to remember today. SW rule. Some will like you, some won't like you. So what? Someone is waiting. Whatever you do today, I want you to remember what I've just taught you. That no matter where you are, no matter what you think of yourself, someone is waiting to help you and someone is waiting to receive from you. Remember that you are amazing. Okay? Feel it. I am amazing. One more time. Bounce. Say, I am amazing. I can't hear you. Huh? I am amazing. So whatever you do, remember, E plus R equals O. Over to you guys on the other side.
Action. Thank you so much. Have a great day. My kids are doing their homeschooling on the side and they were bopping away. I am amazing as they were hearing the music. So yeah, it's wonderful. I should have got a second camera in on Layla to do that one. But yeah, have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much for giving us the drops of inspiration this morning. Please do follow Action and what Action's doing on various social media portals. Obviously you're on everything, aren't you? TikTok.
Yes, Action Jackson Live. TikTok, YouTube.
Showed my age there, Action. I was like, TikTok, and I was like, yep, don't remember any other social media stuff. Brilliant. Have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Very good morning to you. I'm starting niche. One day I'm just going to put the video on you when it's I am amazing, and we're gonna go there. That's what's going to happen. Amazing. It's Layla and Amira just boogieing away at the side of me. Amira just got serious about something. But anyway, a very good morning to you, Mr. Michael Gard.
Morning. I always dance till I'm amazing.
You know what I mean? Like it does put a smile on your face. It does put a smile on your face. Maybe that's what streaming school should be. It's the big I am amazing get together. It should be fun. Have you joined any of those house raves yet? Where like the DJs are doing.
Apart from doing a little bit of that morning exercise stuff with my daughter, who picked my bow tie today, that's probably as far as I go in terms of rave culture now, I'm afraid.
Yeah. It's the wrong side of 30, bro. We're all the wrong side of 30, apart from niche. All right, brilliant. Thank you so much, Mr. Gard, for joining us again. Michael is a very popular teacher on YouTube who's dedicating his time to helping us during the lockdown. And obviously, we're going to be here with you for hopefully until schools are back up and running. So Michael's got another fantastic English literature, I believe, today lesson plan, Michael.
Indeed, yeah, Wednesday's Literature Day.
Wonderful, wonderful. So the screen is yours. Please let us know when you want to switch over.
Yeah, of course, thank you. So morning everyone, it's good to see you all again, and I hope you're well, and I hope you enjoyed obviously our session on Monday. And again, with all of the sessions, if there's anything you've missed or you want to revise, it's all on the system, which Nisha will share with you at the end anyway, so feel free to look back on anything that you may have missed, because it's all useful, and it's obviously not just for now, but moving forward when you come to do what you're doing as well. So I want to focus in today in regards to literature. So we looked last week, which is why I'm making the reference to previous sessions, about how we explore and actually understand the basic meaning of a poem. And we went through how ridiculously easy it is to establish that. And I want to build on that today with a particular focus on analysing unseen poetry. So Nisha, I'm going to ask you a question. And whilst you're preparing yourself, can you turn to my presentation, please?
All right, cool.
Okay, thank you. So I'm starting off with a phrase here, which is obviously going to be taken from the work we're going to explore today, because obviously I planned it to be so. So one flesh. So Nish, if I was to ask you what this means just in general to you in regards to relationships, what would that kind of connote or bring to your mind?
Like being together.
Yeah.
Be one with each other.
Good, because the idea of, and again, going back to the idea of raving and faithless, you know, become one. If you are one, what does that mean to you if we said we are one, Nish?
Like you're all together, you're a unit.
Together, unity, bond, closeness. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, good, good. I appreciate that. So we'll come back to that in due course, because as I said, what we want to focus on today is analysing an unseen poem. Now, again, this is an area of English and literature, when we think about exams in particular, where some students panic a little bit. Some students forget that all the skills they've looked at when they're exploring other types of texts, for some reason, they feel like they don't apply, but they do. They really do. And again, our aims in this session today are, one, that you know the method to analyse an unseen poem, and we're also going to see if we can plan a response in the time that we have. So I don't want to waste any more time thinking about what we're going to do. Let's get started. So we did look last week at identifying the basic meaning. So before we do anything, we always need to think about, okay, so what is this about? And that's what we need to understand before we begin the further analysis. So of course, we'll always read the question, because actually the question will always give you the answer. So as we said before, there's no, I don't know what the poem is about. It tells you. You just have to work out what it's saying. Then, of course, what we do is we read through the poem once, and we'll understand the key parts, and then we explore stanza by stanza, line by line. Again, feel free, if you're looking at this post this time, to pause it, to make sure you can reflect, take notes, screenshot, do whatever you want with it. Now, here is the question I want us to work with today. How does a poet present ideas regarding relationships? So, surprise, surprise, before we even look at this poem together today, I know that this poem is basically about relationships. I don't know if it's about my relationship with my PlayStation. I don't know if it's about the relationship with a family member, friend, partner, whatever it might be, but I know the basic meanings about relationships. So already we're halfway there. But then again, and again, this is quite a bit of text that we're going to get through. Pause it, review it. So how do we now do the unseen poetry part of our exams? Well, we've already mentioned we read through the question carefully and underline key parts. Now, there is no way you're going to understand a poem reading it once. You know, I've been teaching for over a decade. My degree is partly in English as well. So, you know, I'd like to think I'm a little bit of an expert when it comes to understanding poetry. Not the best, but obviously I work hard to be better. But I never understand a poem to be able to write about it fully, reading it once. That's impossible. So what we do is we read it through once, and then we make sure that we underline key words. And then that will help us to identify key elements of the poem. We go through line by line. However, if it's necessary, then obviously we begin to think about some individual words as well. But when you've read through once, what you need to do is create a plan. Now, as we know, an essay, an answer in these exams is basically what you think and proving it, you know, via PE, PA, whatever you do. So if this poem is about relationships, what are the three things that the poet is saying about relationships? So it could be theme-based. So, for example, the writer creates the impression that love is unimportant or is full of regret. And that obviously allows you to explore language, form, and structure as part of your answer. Or it could simply be points used on technique. So the writer uses repetition to do this. Imagery is used to do that. So it's up to you, and it's also up to the way in which you've been working with your teacher previously, what way you attack this, because there's no one right way of doing it. It's just ways in which you can understand how to do it. And once you have your three main ideas, the good points, the areas you know you're going to explore further, we'll then go back to the poem and begin to explore and analyze it in further detail. So let's look at the poem that we're going to be working on together. And it's a poem by Elizabeth Jennings, and it's called One Flesh. You see what we did there at the start of the session. And this is actually my worst fear for my marriage. This poem is, I kind of use it as a reminder in the back of my mind as to where I don't want to be. So we can see here, let's start with looking at the title. So instead we're going to look at key parts. So how is really important, because that's the analysis of language, form, and structure. Then we've got ideas. So it's suggesting, okay, so what are the things it's saying about relationships? So what is it saying about relationships? Now, I'm going to try and read through this poem quickly for you. So I apologize to any purists who think I'm doing this poem a disservice. But I'm going to read it through once, and then we're going to analyze it together. So as we said, it's called One Flesh. Lying apart now, each in a separate bed. He with a book, keeping the light on late. She, like a girl, dreaming of childhood. All men elsewhere, as if they wait some new event. The book he holds unread, her eyes fixed on the shadows overhead. Tossed up like flotsam and jetsam from a form of passion, how cool they lie. They hardly ever touch, or if they do, it is like a confession of having little feeling or too much. Chastity faces them, a destiny for which their whole lives were in preparation. Strangely apart, yet strangely close together. Silence between them, like a thread to hold and not wind in. And in time itself, a feather touching them gently. Do they know they're old? These two who are my father and mother, whose fire from which I came has now grown cold. So again, you can see potentially why I fear the meaning in this poem. But again, we're not going to be able to understand this just reading it through once. And obviously, if this was you in your exam, you'd be looking at a second time, you already would have started to underline key parts. What we're going to do now, in the exam, you'll roughly have about 10 minutes to plan a full answer. We may not finish it in the time, but let's begin to consider what this poem is suggesting about relationships and how we can respond to that. Now, you have to bear with me. I'm going to pretend that we've read this a couple of times. We've now underlined key parts. We know this poem really, really well. So what is it saying about relationships? Well, for me, it's saying a couple of things. One, the poem is firstly suggesting that relationships grow cold over time.
That's it, Mike. Started off on a positive, buddy. Start the day off on positive. Jackson took us up. Jackson took us up. He brought us right there. We're like, yeah, okay, great.
Well, it's helping to highlight what we want to avoid. You know, it's particularly in times like this, it's about how we remain close to each other. That's the idea. So you've got a sense of growing cold over time. We have a sense of need. There is a sense of need between these two characters. And again, notice, we're going to talk about who the speaker is in a moment, but it's clearly the child. So we have a third person perspective, which we're going to concentrate on in a moment. There's also a sense of relationships seeming to grow cold over time. There's a sense of need. There's also a sense here, however, of love or even of passion. And again, we might write 4, 5, 6 different points, and then we'll pick our best 3. And what I mean by that is the 3 points which allow us to then analyze fully. Now, this is where we go back to that method. You see, I prefer this method because it opens up your ability to explore multiple things at once. If you're just analyzing the language, so this word creates this impression of relationships, this structure creates this impression of relationships, well, you kind of limit your analysis and it's almost like a tick box. That said, you can still achieve full marks in any exam by using that method. So Grows cold over time. Well, where do we see that in this poem? So we see lying apart now, each in separate beds. So we've got this idea of separate beds. So again, you can see what I'm doing my plan here. So if this was my actual plan on the paper itself, I would now be drawing a line to point number 1. And I'm obviously going to have here that separate creates a sense, obviously, of distance. We've also got that now further in the poem where we have separation, so it's distance. We have elsewhere, which suggests it's contradictory to our title. So you can see here it contradicts the title. Obviously now there's not a sense of them being together. And again, what I'm going to do is, you can write his notes further, but what I do is I try and write my notes in almost like, I want to say text message form, but no one actually texts anymore. But you know what I mean? I mean by kind of shorthand notes. And the only way you can practice this to achieve better planning is to do it. So it contradicts the title, the idea of one flesh. And then we have here again, look at the language being employed. So how cool they lie. So notice we've got to separate, again, the cold over time. So cool. So the lexical choice here. So lexical choice. So here's a good tip. If you can't remember if the imagery or the word is a simile, a metaphor, a verb, or adjective, lexis is a fancy way of saying, a grade 9 way of saying words. So the lexical choice here highlights a sense of a fire diminishing, doesn't it? So fire diminishing, a sense of passion dying out. And if I could spell today, then we'd all be particularly happy. So we've got an idea of the fire dying or diminishing as we have. The fire dies. Then, so we've looked at language being used here, grows cold over time. So we've got language. Okay, so can I think of anything to do with structure particularly? Because I need to make sure I'm looking at that. So we can see here we have throughout the poem, so structure. Throughout we have this motif, this theme of a love growing cold, growing cool. You can see now I've started to plan. That point now has got language analysis, it's got structure analysis, it's linking back to the title. So again, I'm looking at form here. That's a really strong point when it's written out in full sentences. However, point number 2, there is a sense of need. So once again, this is where I can use Niche's point. I can start looking at the title. So the idea of the title here creates a sense of unity. It creates almost a religious sense. This idea of one flesh is quite religious. It suggests almost that their relationship is holy, perhaps. Who is it holy to? Well, remember, this is the perspective of the child. This is the perspective of the child. So this is their view of the relationship of their parents. So again, this equals their view of the relationship, the parental relationship. So that's interesting, isn't it? We think about the speaker here, because it would be a different poem if it was from the father's perspective laying in one bed, or the mother's perspective laying in another bed. That idea of need is also extended by this idea of the simile, like a thread to hold. So again, we've got the idea here of this need. So we have the simile. I'm just going to write down thread, because obviously we know where it is, because we're going to come back to it in the poem when we're writing. So the idea of simile of thread suggests this idea of connection. However, the noun thread creates a sense of a loose connection being employed here. So it suggests that they are together, but this seems to be a relationship which is loosely connected. I can go back to the idea of separate beds if I want to, and that's absolutely fine. Then we've also got the idea of love and passion. So this is where I might say, well, actually, I might save the title for here, because I want to expand my analysis. My third point needs to be as strong as my first point. So I could use the title. However, obviously, for this, I'm also going to revert back to the end of the poem, where we've got the idea of from the fire from which I once came. So if we use the metaphor here of the fire, well, of course, that suggests a sense of passion. It suggests a sense of desire. it suggests also a sense of activity, because notice a lot of the imagery being used is about being cool and cold. So that could be a sexual link, you know, suggesting that, but it's a physical, maybe intimate link we're talking about here, that their relationship seems less active, less involved. So to me, when I talk about this poem scaring me as a married man, it's this idea of, for me, the message here is working at that relationship. Don't allow it to grow cold by reading a book in your separate beds. So there's a sense here of the fire and passion and desire. However, notice that the tense being used, which I came, past tense. So we're now looking at structure again. So the past tense of the word came suggests that the passion is no longer there. So we could now begin to go a little bit further with the rhyme scheme. So again, anyone that's not sure what rhyme scheme, how we work that out. So for example, the first line is always A. We're trying to establish this. So bed rhymes with late. No, it doesn't. So we have B. Childhood doesn't rhyme with any of the three. So we have C. Wait, late. There's a rhyme there. You can see then we have unread, which rhymes with bed, and overhead. So this is interesting, this rhyme scheme, isn't it? Because we have a rhyming couplet. A couplet, this is a nice grade 9 way of using these structural techniques. So we have a rhyming couplet, which can suggest, and notice it's being used, this rhyme scheme is being used in each stanza. So the rhyming couplet can suggest closeness, a bond, which is what's being suggested by the poem. But notice that we have this A, B, C, B, A, A rhyme scheme, which does also suggest a sense of distance as well. So I can use that in other parts of my plan. So you can see, we could go further if we had more time, but in exam we're pressured. So now what we do is we review our plan. So we've done that now in about 8 minutes. So let's say I've got my point, I've got analysis of language here, I've got technical terminology, I've also analysed structure in point number 1. Great. Then point number 2, I've got analysis of the title, which is form. I've looked at some of the words in the title. So I've got now, I've looked at rhyming couplets. I also looked at the sense of the past tense. That is, without doubt, written in full sentences, a full mark plan for a piece of unseen poetry. And if we think back on what we did, we knew what the title, the poem's basic meaning was because the title told us. We've now worked out how to create a full mark response, and we actually planned in exam timings today as well. So it's very easily done, but it just takes practice. So Nish, do you mind reverting back to my face, please? Okay, thank you. So what would be great for you to do if you so wish is to have a go yourself. So there'll be some links available for you to access and have a go at different tasks. You're more than welcome to come back and review this at any point that you like. But together in this session, we've planned a full mark response. And it was, you know, really easy to do because we will practice at it. So I hope that's been of use today. And as always, it's a pleasure working with you. And I'll see you all on Friday.
You're a gentleman, Mr. Guard. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it, buddy. And yeah, really look forward to catching up with you at your next lesson. And now I'm just going to go feel slightly bleak for the rest of the day after that rather.
Well, the poem tells me to work at any relationship you have. Don't let it go cold. So pick up that phone, text that friend that you've not spoken to.
What's Friday's poem, Mike? The end is near.
Well,
have a great day, buddy. Thank you so much. And you know I'm only being annoying.
Bye.
All right, Nish, it's all over. It's all over. How did you feel about that one, Nish? And you've forgotten that you're on mute. No problems with live broadcasts.
Well, every time I had someone come upstairs, so I was like, mute.
Yeah, fair play. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I see where Mike's coming from. Really? Don't let your relationships go cold.
You know, one thing I genuinely do. I do it with my kids, or I do it with people anytime. And no matter how annoying, frustrating, or annoying someone's being, every single day, I promise you I do this. And I actually set myself to do this. I think it's the only way I have any vestige of patience whatsoever is that someone told me a phrase once, and it's always stuck in my day. It's like, can you look with fresh eyes? Just look with fresh eyes. So whatever's going on with me and anyone in my life, when I go for the new day, I'm always just like, am I looking with fresh eyes? And that always kind of, so I never really feel like things go cold, because I always feel like I'm looking with fresh eyes. Liz, can I just hand over to Auntie Nish, and then I'll be with you in 1 second. All right, homeschooling is real. Homeschooling is real. Right, it's all for you to hand out, Nish.
Well, here is the optional task for English today. It is literature. It is using the poem The Follower by Heaney. Analyse how the poet presents ideas about parenting. There will be links to this as well going up on Facebook and YouTube. If you've missed out on any videos, you can look back on Facebook and YouTube as well. Up next, we have maths.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Yeah, I think Layla's going to leave homeschooling or home guided learning. She's going to know every single Mac shortcut there is. Just copy and pasting and changing and printing like a vulture. Thank you so much, Nish. I really look forward to catching up with you in probably 20 odd minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Thank you.